Hello, my name's Anand and you're very welcome to today's video. If you're new to my channel, I talk about life coaching, specifically emotional wellness coaching, meditation and a little bit of Reiki. If you've been to my channel before, welcome back. And today I'm going to continue our journey into emotional wellness topics using a painting that will change each week to illustrate each specific topic. So in the last video I talked about meeting our inner darkness, whether we can be stuck in it or whether it can be something that's very peaceful for us, and you can check that video out up above. And using that same painting I added another colour, and this time we're going to look at anger. So in this painting you can see I'm using red that we often do associate with anger, and I wanted to capture the energy of anger, that powerful motion that we get when we're in anger, and also sort of lighter or duller colours to represent how we can often repress our anger. And so I want to be able to explore three types of anger, but focus mainly on two of them, which I'm sure you may recognize. So the three types of anger I'm going to explore today is what I call inward anger, outward anger, and conscious anger. So inward anger is pretty much any anger that we repress and we turn inward. And I'll share some examples in a minute of that. Outward anger is again a form of repression, but at some point it becomes explosive. So a question to put to you, or for you to consider, is your anger a no-go zone? I don't do anger. It doesn't happen. Or is your anger bubbling away like a volcano and you're terrified because at some point you know it's going to explode and you're going to lose your shit and it's going to go out there, and then you go through this cycle of shame and guilt of why did I explode and why did this happen and why can't I control my anger? And some of us can either go into the no-go zone of anger and we turn it inward, or some of us go into the explosive anger and we throw it outward, or we can move between the two. So just to talk about some examples of the inward anger. So this comes out in behaviours, for example, maybe when anger arises, and anger is a very powerful energy. For example, where I'm living today, the wind is howling, the rain is bashing down. It's what I would think angry weather. It's throwing itself out, and it's wild. Anger is wild. It's uncontrollable. It can be uncontrollable. It can be frightening. So for some people, they've been conditioned or taught, I don't allow anger out. And so therefore, they have to find a mechanism, a suppression mechanism, to keep that anger down. And you have to shove it down into the body. And some people might do it through eating. So that's been one of my forms, where I will literally eat my way through anger. And for some people, they might use substances to keep the anger down, to keep everything cool and calm and chill. I never get angry. And then for some people, it might come out that almost like this passive-aggressive behaviour, where it's almost kind of quite, it comes out in hints of sarcasm or passive-aggressive remarks of, oh, I wouldn't ever do that. But there's a dig, and it's more hidden, it's secret. Or the behaviour might be that the anger is turned inward and you attack yourself. So you might do self-sabotaging behaviours. It can be repetitive mental thoughts constantly attacking you, telling you you're no good, or, you're stupid and why did you let that happen, or taking the blame. Or you could whitewash the situation. Maybe someone's invaded your space or done something that's broken your boundaries, but rather than saying, excuse me, back up there, I don't like that behaviour, you turn it inward and you go, why did I let them do it? And then you punish yourself. And that can be very, very hard. So you never allow the anger out, or it can actually go into the body, and at some point it has to come out through illness or through some other means. So that's the inward anger. The outward anger is probably one that we're more familiar with. We've most likely experienced it, or we've actually done it ourselves. And that's the explosive anger, where you throw it out on another person. Or you might have road rage. So when you're in the car, you're this peaceful, calm person. The minute you get in the car, you become this rage machine, and you literally want to annihilate people on the road. I've witnessed this. Very calm, quiet people, they get in the car and they go completely nuts. And that maybe for them might be a way that they think, I can safely express my anger. Or the keyboard warrior, who's very calm and passive outside, but behind a keyboard might really throw a lot of vitriol and anger, or get into a discussion board and throw something, really nasty out there. That's something they wouldn't ever dream of doing in real life. So you're throwing it out on the other. Or you're shouting at your kids, or you're kicking the dog, or you're shouting at the cat, or you're blaming the outside world for everything. They made me angry. It's their fault. All the time throwing it outward. And as I said, both of these types of anger are a form of repression. Because genuine or conscious anger is anger in the moment. It's always expressed in the moment. And I'm saying that anger is healthy when it's channeled in the right way. It can either be like a wild horse that you're like trying to tame, control, suppress, box away. And you can imagine this wild energy that you've put into a little box. What happens there? Or think about the many, many times throughout the day that you hold your anger in, and then multiply that by a week, by a month, by a year, by a decade, by a lifetime. Where is all that anger going? It's a good question to ask yourself. But if instead with conscious anger, this is where you are aware that anger is arising within you, and you're asking yourself the question of, the sensation of anger is coming up, I'm in a situation, what's happening here that anger is arising? And in that consciousness or an awareness, you can decide to tell the other, excuse me, I don't appreciate that behaviour that you're doing. I'd like you to stop. Or you might decide you're witnessing the anger, and is it related to this situation? Or is it related to something old, an old wound that's triggered in the moment? And you might decide, well, I'm going to witness the sensations of anger, the tightness in my jaw, my hands doing this, the guts tightening, the heat, almost like that heat boiling, the change in the breath. These are all signs that anger is arising within us. And you can almost like visualize yourself looking inward and looking down, almost like a mirror. And when you look at it and you see the anger arising, you might decide, okay, I'm going to witness it, and then wait and see what to decide to do. Or another form of conscious anger is you're feeling some anger. You don't want to throw it out on the other person because it's not anything to do with them. But you still have the anger and you want to find a safe way to release it. So there are some things that you can do. If you can find a quiet space, you can punch a pillow. I have a long basher that I love to bash something with when I have anger. You can do active meditations, particularly Osho-dynamic meditation is an amazing technique to deal with particularly long-term repressed anger. And if you want to find out more about that, I'll include a link to that. There's a YouTube video that shows all the instructions and the explanations. Or you can find another means. Some people like to journal. Some people, maybe you can draw an image, or scribble. Or you can do some gibberish where you just talk in a language you don't know. Anything just to throw the energy out. Or if there's an area that you can go out into a woods or the beach or wherever and scream into the void, that can be another really helpful way of releasing the anger out of your body, but not throwing it on someone else. Because what we don't want to do is use our anger against another. We can tell someone the behavior is being, you don't appreciate the behavior. That's different. But it's not throwing it out. It's not shouting at someone. It's not saying, you might say to someone, here, stop, back up. That's different. That's assertive. That's firm. Or you might need to fight for yourself, because even actually, that's another thing that's just come to me, is that when we have inward anger, when we repress anger and we don't channel it in the moment, often we can allow behaviours to happen to us that make us feel ashamed. Like, I allowed them to push me around. I didn't stand up for myself. I got pushed around. Why did I let that happen? And then you get angry with yourself. And that's not something you want to allow to happen if you can help it at all. So I've mentioned a few ways that you yourself can work through anger, whether, as I said, it's witnessing the anger, watching it arise, and then deciding in the moment what to do, or journaling it, or releasing it in a healthy way through a pillow, gibberish, Osho-dynamic meditation, screaming in the void, having a basher. I made mine out of what did I make mine out of? I made it out of a hose pipe, wrapped it around with a foam, and then tape around it, and so I don't hurt myself. But it just means I can, the sound and the bashing it's very, for me, very releasing. And the more that you release your anger and let it go, the more it comes out of your body, and the more that your energy flows. So it gives you an awful lot of space when you allow it out. And that's the beauty of allowing the anger out. If it continues to be a no-go zone, you're either going to move into that inward anger where you attack yourself, or the outward anger where you're behind the wheel of a car in road rage. And someday that may take you so far that something awful could happen. So I invite you to be friendly with anger, to explore it, play with it. And if you feel that you're stuck in any of the behaviours that I've mentioned, whether it's road rage, inward anger, self-attacking, you are very welcome to book a free 1-hour discovery call with me. This is the specific kind of coaching I offer, what I call emotional wellness coaching. And you're very welcome to book a 1-hour call with me, and we can explore it together and see if emotional wellness coaching is something that could help you with this particular struggle. So all the details to contact me are down below. And in the next video, I'm going to explore another emotion using the same painting. So the red is going to change. And I look forward to meeting you in the next video. Thank you.